6 months have passed since the future anchors of the task forces first came together. 4 task forces were formed to mobilize partners to identify solutions and levers to close the gaps in sanitation by focusing on technology, finance, gender, and behavior change communication. During this period, task forces have been meeting, strategizing, and aspiring to align efforts to engage and educate, but never replicate. Pursued by the agents of Tasra, they came together to learn from one another on the 7th of September.
Urban sanitation is a little more complex subject than very conventional any problem that confronts society. So we need technology, we need finance, we need behavior change communication, and equally important is to bring in equity, particularly gender equity into this. So bringing these task forces and ensuring that there is a free flow of thought process between these task forces and coming up with a common agenda.
There are many facets to sanitation. In that sense, compared to most other infrastructure sectors, sanitation is a far more complex subject, and therefore a variety of activities are needed or variety of support is needed to really make sanitation happen and to sustain it. So these different things, technology, which is generally the engineer's domain, finance, which is thought of as the financiers coming in, behavior change, which is generally not there in most infrastructure sectors, but which is crucial in this sector, and the women in sanitation play a great role. So in that sense, the gender issues are very, very important.
One thing that I believe is going to be critical for us in the future is going to be really supporting the other 3 task forces. While going through the program that they have for the near future, I realized that without the use of BCC or SBCC, as we call it, social and behavior change communication, I do not see their activities really delivering the outcomes that they intend to or want from those particular initiatives.
Lack of access to toilets and to other infrastructure, sanitation infrastructure, is felt by a lot of people, including the marginalized. And when we say marginalized, it is the women's group, it's also the transgenders who are not even considered or counted anywhere in the statistics.
Under the Tech Troopers, we are looking at coming up with simple technology guide, a guide for as FSM dummies, for any practitioner to understand the FSM technology. We are also looking at different standard operating procedures, coming up with manuals. And finally, we are also looking at something beyond FSM, looking at grey water management issues.
So our primary objective of existence as the Behavior Change Communication Task Force is to bring strategic thinking to the way communications is done on urban sanitation across India.
Key objective of our group is to look at innovative financing options in a way to finance sanitation sector at scale, and the main theme is to work with the partners, not in silos.
The Gender Task Force, which I also represent, is looking at how marginalized communities should be targeted and access to women and transgenders can be facilitated.
There is a huge issue on grey water, and a discussion paper, case studies on technologies, how they should be assessed, what are the cost-effective methods, business models. Discussion paper on that is also going to come up. Another one would be also coming up with the standing operating systems for labs, and we've had some of those engagements, and some of them are upcoming.
One of the outputs that the task force is currently working on is a comprehensive mapping of potential communication interventions across the sanitation value chain. What we realized as a task force is that a lot of narrative around behavior change communication on sanitation is focused on driving usage and adoption of toilets.
One key area that we want to look at is to understand what are the financing requirements under different scenarios, and based on that then assess what is the public finance, what are the requirements again, what are the institutional arrangements, current priorities within the budget process of national government, state government and city governments on financing these activities.
How do we include gender in grant making? How the donors, investors should perceive a project with a gender lens, and how do they make the grants accordingly?
How do you compare a network system versus non-network systems? What are the life cycle costs? How do we pitch this investment decisions to policymakers? So the Tech Task Force identified some of these as the future work program. May the task force be with you.
May the task force be with you.
So may the task force be with you.
The task force will be with you.
May the task force be with you.
May the task force be with you.
So may the task force be with you, and may all the task forces together be with you.
May the task force live and prosper.
It's got words.